My name is Seth Collier. I was in the United States Navy, and while I was in the Navy, I attained the rating of E9, or Master Chief Petty Officer. I served on submarines and the nuclear power program all of my career, or at least in some aspects of that, for my 33 years. I also went as Command Master Chief of the Naval Training Center in Orlando, Florida for 9 years. But in all of this, I'm saying all of this simply because I depended upon the Lord for the decisions that I had to make and the responsibilities that I had as a Master Chief. Responsible for the operation of a submarine and getting it to sea, ensuring that it was safe to take to sea, and then, of course, as the Command Master Chief of the Naval Training Center in Orlando, having responsibility for 32 command's enlisted personnel, it requires me to put a lot of trust into asking God for help and wisdom to make the decisions that I oftentimes had to make. I'm so very thankful that I had our loving Heavenly Father that loved me enough to give me the wisdom and to help me to be successful in things that I did. I can only attribute that to Him and say, even as Paul did, I am what I am by the grace of God. I am very grateful and thankful that I was able to serve my country, in which I believed very much for the things that they did for us and for me and for you all as well, to have been able to have served in such a way to bring honor and glory to the good Lord.
Hi, my name is Les Skates. I served 3 years in the National Guard, 6 years in the U.S. Navy, and 17 years in the Army, for a total of 26 years of military service. I retired from the Army in 1984 at the rank of Chief Warrant Officer. My 17 years in the Army, I was a helicopter pilot. I was stationed in 9 different states, served during the Cuban Missile Crisis, survived 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, and 3 years in Germany during the Cold War. I also was a member of the Rapid Deployment Force, which evolved into what we know today as Special Operations. It was during my first assignment in Virginia in 1959 at a church youth function, I met a beautiful young girl named Carol Valentine. 2 years later, we married. And next month, we will celebrate our 52nd wedding anniversary. As I said, I served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot. My introduction to combat came real quick. I was shot down on my first mission. As fate would have it, that was not to be the last time that would happen. I can recall several instances when it was only the hand of God that got me through the action. That's the only reason I can come up with. There were over 1,000 Army helicopter pilots killed in Vietnam. I knew quite a few of them. I saw some of them die. Why I was not one of them? The only answer I can give is that it was not God's will for me to die at that time. In December 1972, when I arrived home at the end of my second tour in Vietnam, as soon as I got off the plane, I ran over to one side, dropped to my knees, bent over and kissed the tarmac. And I raised up with tears in my eyes, flowing down my cheek, thanking God that I was alive and that I was home. It was only by God's mercy and grace that I was alive and that I was home. I thank God that I had the opportunity to serve my country. All in all, I enjoyed my military career, and truth be known, I'd go back tomorrow if I could pass the physical. I want to thank my wife, Carol, for loving me and standing by me all these years. Even though I've been out of the Army for 29 years, the Army hasn't left me. It takes a special kind of woman to be a career military wife, and God has blessed me with the very best.
My name is Carl Broski. I attained the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Army. I served from 1985 to 2013. I served in many locations, but they include places like Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Stewart, Georgia, and Germany. And I've deployed to places like Colombia, Zaire, and Iraq. I remember feeling closest to God on some of my more difficult deployments, and they included in Zaire during the Rwanda crisis, and also in Iraq during my 3 tours there, and as well as in Bosnia, and during that time I served in a country called Croatia. I really felt during those times a presence of evil, and I drew close to the Lord and I prayed a lot, but I also felt His presence, and not only His presence with me, but the presence with the people that I served with and around me, and that helped to get us through the deployment. I'm grateful to have served our nation. We're fortunate to have the freedoms that we have and live in a country where we have freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom of religion, and freedom of expression. There are a lot of places in the world that don't have that, and we should protect that, and it's something that we really shouldn't take for granted. And it's something worth fighting for, and it's something that I think that we should protect.